Hi everybody, welcome back to Bring Life Indoors. It's Moira here. Thank you so much for joining me. Before I go ahead with today's video, I firstly want to say concerning last week, I was not able to upload a video simply because, you know what, it just didn't work out. It didn't work out. Last week was a very challenging week for us as a family, in that I was not able to, I tried, but I was not able to upload. But I'm glad to say we were able to overcome. We were able to overcome. And having said that, I'm very happy to be sitting here doing another video. Yeah, I hope you all understand. I really hope you all understand. So yeah, I'm doing this video on a Sunday evening. As you can see, it's dark outside. It's actually pitch dark outside. So I hope the lighting is good. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. I thought I should just firstly apologize about that, about last week. As for today's video, I wanted to talk about business Fern. I love these ferns. I love them. They're one of my favorite ferns. And I thought, why not make a video on them as to how to care for them. I've had them over a year. This one I've had it over a year. This one I've had it close to a year. And this one just probably over 6 months. So I've had them quite a while, especially this one. This one was my first. This one is my first, was my first. I can say is the one I learned a lot with. That's why I'm able to take care of these ones even better than I did this one from the beginning. So I learned a lot with this one. It was my training plant, if you want to look at it that way. So I'm happy to be able to sit here and give you care tips on it. If you don't know, the way I do my care tips video is I share based on what I have learned myself as an individual concerning the plant I'm talking about. I share on what I have learned over time and what I have discovered over time, based on the mistakes I have done and what I have learned and what yeah, all those things. So it's wonderful because it's my own experience, you know, which I've experienced with the plant, you know, with the plant. And so that's how I put together my own care tips. And that's where I base them on. I base them on what I have experienced in the time I've had with the plant. What to do, what not to do, based on the environment I live in myself. So yeah, so I thought I will share that with you. And the beauty about all this is if you buy a plant and you take care of it, and the truth of the matter is there's a lot you're gonna learn, whether from your mistakes or from just looking after it, whether you're doing right or you're doing wrong. But the truth of the matter, there's a lot you're gonna learn. And when you go sit down and you Google and you read what other people are saying after you've learned what you've learned, the truth of the matter is it's funny how it all it all comes down to the same truth, if I may put it that way. It all comes down to the same truth. You know, but it's beautiful to discover it for yourself. I always say that it's beautiful. No one can take that knowledge away from you once you've discovered it from yourself. That understanding from you, no one can take it away from you once you have discovered it for yourself. So this is what I've discovered for myself with this plant. So please excuse me, I'm gonna be using my phone. I've made my notes that I don't leave anything out. Yeah, sometimes I do a video like this and I go back and I look and I watch it and I realize, ooh, I left this out and that out simply because I didn't use my notes. But I've learned to use my notes, that I don't leave any information out. So these plants are tropical plants. They grow on the ground of the forest. So they love humidity. They love warmth. yeah, so they are lovely, lovely, lovely plants. As you can see them, they come in different shapes and forms. I mean, look at this one, how it's growing. Can you see how it's growing? It's like, yeah, it's very different. And then you look at this one, how this one is growing. This one shoots a bit up as compared to this one. This one is more like an umbrella kind of thing going. This one shoots up. And then you've got this one, which is like a spiral. Can you see there? So yeah, you get different kinds. And I'm sure there's more kinds out there. I only have these 3 so far. And I still want to collect more, you know. So let's talk about this beauty. This lovely, lovely, lovely plant. Like I said, they grow on the ground of the forest. So they actually get their humidity from the trees, you know, from the leaves, from all the plants around them, you know. They get all that nice humidity and warmth from all that. So when you take them and you decide to bring them indoors, we need to try and mimic the same environment they love and prefer out there. You know, we need to try and mimic that in our home. Now, for me, what I've discovered is the best place to mimic that environment is my bathroom. And they love it in my bathroom because it's where I shower and bath. And I mean, we use that twice a day. We bath and shower in there twice a day. So they love it. Humidity levels are high in there. It's nice and warm. I've got 2 windows in my bathroom, so they get bright light. So they love it. They love it, and they are thriving. They are growing well. And what I've seen with them is if you provide them with the right conditions, they thrive. They grow beautifully and healthy. They just thrive if you provide them with those conditions, you know, good humidity and good light and what do you call it, warmth. You know, they thrive. They will do well for you. They will really do well for you. And so yeah, how do we care for these lovely, 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 beautiful, beautiful ferns? Let's talk about light. You know, let's talk about light. These plants, they will do well in a bright light to a shade, like a light shade, not too shady, not too dark, but a light shade. They will do well, if I put it this way, they'll do well from a bright light to a low light environment. So you can put them, if you don't have, like me, if you don't have 2 windows or your bathroom is not as bright as mine, it's a low light bathroom, they will do well there still. You know, the only difference with the light is that they will grow a bit slower than they would if they were getting a good bright light, if I may put it that way. Because I've seen with mine, they've grown so, they've grown super fast, you know, simply because of the light they get. So that's what the light does. I've seen if you put a plant in a shady area and you put the same plant in a bright corner, the difference with them, they might look still healthy and beautiful, both of them, but the difference would be the other one would be growing faster than the other one that is sitting on the shade. So that's what you should just know, that that's what will be happening. But otherwise, it will be doing fine. It will do well in a low light area. So don't expose it to direct sun. What it will do, it will scorch the leaves. This is what has happened with this one. Like I said, this was my learning baba. I've done all my mistakes with this one. This was my first. I've done all my mistakes with this one. I must be honest. At some point, the leaves were coming out looking deformed and funny and weird. Ooh, but I didn't give up on it. I would just chop away. I didn't give up on it. But this is what I mean by, you know, it will get scorched and everything. So I didn't give up on it. I just kept on until I knew what to do with it. I just kept on going at it. You know, I moved it from where it was getting direct sun. I moved it and put it a bit away from that you just get that bright light, not the direct sun. And yeah, and the other mistake I was doing is, I think, you know, I was giving it too much fertilizer, you know, and that was not good for it. That was not good for it. And I actually cut down on the fertilizer, and it started coming together. It started coming all right. So I've learned a lot with this one, which now I'm not doing those mistakes on these ones, and I'm looking forward to adding more. So we're talking about the light. So it will do well from your, like I said, from your bright light to your low light, and don't expose it to direct sun. And soil, I have mine in a peat based potting mix. All my ferns are in a peat based potting mix, simply because it holds moisture for a long time, and I love that about it. I mean, I take a while before I water these. In the winter, I can go as long as a month, because then it holds on to moisture for so long. And in the summer, as long as 2 to 3 weeks. But again, please don't follow my watering schedule, because we don't have the same environment in the house. So I don't know what is your home environment. It's probably not the same as mine. But I've seen with my ferns in the summer, I mean, because of the soil I use a peat-based potting mix, which holds on to moisture. And this one is sitting in this ceramic pot, so they don't dry out so quickly. And this one is sitting in a plastic pot, you know, so they don't dry out so quickly. You know what I mean? And this one also, they don't dry out so quickly. They take a while to dry out. So I'll say about 2 to 3 weeks. It depends. Somewhere in between, just after 2 weeks or exactly 3 weeks, I have to give them water. So in the summer. And then as for, that was the soil. And as for water, because they are your jungle plants, your tropical plants, they like to be on the moist side. They don't like, it's not the plant you want to leave them to go bone dry, though I must confess, sometimes they do go bone dry. But I've seen, I mean, it doesn't do much to them. You'll get a leaf or two that dries out, and that, you know, but it doesn't affect them so badly, to be very honest. I've left them to go bone dry, and it didn't, oh, that's my phone, sorry. It didn't, you know, nothing bad happened to them, if I may put it. Sorry, I don't like working with my phone. I end up pressing things I shouldn't press, and things happen. But anyway, yeah, so the truth of the matter is, I've let them go bone dry, and yeah, they survived. And I've done it so many times. So I'm not going to sit and lie to you and say I'm always on point when it comes to watering. I have let them go bone dry, and I'm glad to say they can handle it. But I try not to do it a lot. I try not to do it a lot. They like to be on the moist side, so I water them. I let it dry out in between watering, but I try not to let them stay dry for too long. But I make sure that they dry out in between watering. You know, once I stick my finger in there and I feel the soil is dry, then I water. Or if I leave the pot and I feel, yeah, no, it's dry, then I water them, you know. But I try not to keep them too dry for too long. That's how I do it. I don't know if that makes sense at all. I hope it makes sense to someone out there, you know. Because while they like to be moist, they don't like to be soggy. So you want to make sure that you don't overwater them, because then you get root rot. You also want to make sure that you don't water them before they need to be watered, because then you get root rot. You know what I mean? So I always stick my finger. Once your finger is that much, it's all the way in there, and you feel it's dry, it's time to water. But with me, I know my plants, so if I pick up the pot, I can tell when it's time to water it, and when it's not yet time to water them. you know. So yeah, that's water. And let's talk about humidity. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, they love high humidity. They really love high humidity. So bathroom is the best place to put them. I've seen with mine. They really love high humidity. You can run the humidifier if you want to have them somewhere around your house where you feel maybe the humidity levels are not so great. You can run a humidifier, you know, or you can put them in a greenhouse. You can even use them in your terrariums. They do well in terrariums. And then as for fertilizing, like I mentioned earlier, I made a mistake with this one. When it came to fertilizing, I over fertilized this. I actually fertilized it the same way I fertilized my other house plants, you know, every second week. And that was not good for it. You know, that was not good for it. It was just way too much fertilizer. So now I only fertilize them once a month. And sometimes I don't even think about it, to be very honest. They do just fine. So I limit my fertilizer with them. I do it once a month on a growing season. But here with us, here, it's always a growing season, to be very honest. As long as I see that there's something growing, there's new growth coming up, I fertilize, but I do it once a month. I don't do it as often as I do with my other house plants. And I make sure that it's a light dosage. It's not heavy. It's not too much, you know. So if they say give it 5 mils, you know, rather give it less. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense again, you know. But do what works for you. I'm doing what, like I said, I learned from this one. So I try not to do the same with this one, with these ones. So yeah, so please do what works for you. As to repotting, I always I do my best. I leave my plants unless if there's really a need for me to repot, then I repot. But I must be honest, I've never had a need for me to repot these plants, except when I brought them home and I decided to move them from a pot they were in and give them a brand new pot and a bigger pot. So far, so good. They haven't outgrown their pots. So the only time I'll take them out is when when I feel they are pot bound and they are outgrowing their pots. And so far, there's nothing like that with all of these three that are not pot bound. So there's no need for me to repot. And again, that's just me. I only repot when I feel the roots have filled up the pots and it's time for me to give them a bigger pot, or there's something there's something not well, like this one. Like I said, I learned a lot with this one. When I was struggling with it, I had to, at some point I had to change it from the soil it was sitting in and give it fresh new soil, which helped a lot. And I gave it another soil, and I threw out, because then what was happening with the soil that it came with from the nursery, it was holding moisture for way too long, and I didn't like that. And it will even mold on the top because it was holding moisture for way too long. It was not drying out as quick as it should, you know, considering the size of the pot and all that. It was not. And then I decided to change the soil, get rid of the soil that it came in with, and I gave it fresh new soil. And yeah, so if you feel there's something that is happening which you don't like, you know, yeah, you change your soil and you give it fresh new soil, you know. Otherwise, if there's no reason why you should change it, don't change it. Leave it. Let it get pot bound, and then you can move it to a bigger pot. So that's yeah, that's repotting. That's what I do when it comes to repotting. You talk about propagation. These plants are not easy to propagate. They're not, I mean, they're not like your other ferns, which you can divide, you know, and separate or divide, and then, you know, and I don't know of any other way, you know, I don't know of any other way. If you do, please share. I'd love to know. But then talking about division, that, I mean, you can't divide these. You can't divide these plants. You can't divide them, you know. So yeah, yeah, I haven't seen, actually I must go look it up, but I haven't seen you know, yeah, a way to propagate it, you know. But if you do know, please share. I'd love to know. It would be nice to know. So yeah, yeah, I don't know if I've left anything out. Let me check my notes, but that's all I had for us for today. Your best nest fan. Now, if you're looking for a fan which is super easy to take care of, which won't give you issues, I would recommend a bird's nest fan. Bird's nest fan. It is super easy to care for. I find it absolutely easy to care for. It's not fussy. It's not a diva like your maidenhair fan. My goodness, I killed that plant more than twice until I gave up on it. But as for this one, it's so easy. It's so easy to care for. It just keeps on growing as long as you give it the right conditions it needs. And I wanted to show you the nest, why they call it a bird's nest fan. There's a nest inside. Can you see all that foliage coming in? I've read somewhere where they say don't touch those, you know, otherwise they get disturbed and then they can even then deform, whatever. So don't fiddle down there into the nest. Don't play around there. And when you water it directly onto the soil. Don't water it up there. Water it onto the soil. Yeah, 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 you know. Though I must be very honest, I've got my days where I give them a good wash. I spray them with soap, and then I give them a good wash because they'll be covered with dust. And then I rinse the entire plant. But I make sure that I do it in the day where they will have enough time to dry out. You know what I mean? Where they'll have enough time to dry out, that the water won't sit on the foliage or inside the nest there and create mold. But yeah, that's it. It's been fun. Please go get yourself a bird's nest fan. This is how this one looks in there. Sorry about that, my battery died. Yeah, but as I was saying, if you are looking for an easy to care for fan, this is one of them. Believe me, you won't be disappointed. Go get yourself a bird's nest fan and you won't be disappointed. They are super, super, super easy. I'm here with my son. He wanted to do the outro with me. What do you want to say?
Please subscribe to the video and please like it and please give it a thumbs up.
There we go. Thank you, Jonathan. Yep. Remember to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you like the video. And remember to comment down below. Let me know what you think of this fan. And yeah, it's been fun. And for those who have subscribed, thank you so much for your love and support. We really appreciate you. And have yourself a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.